Am I moving my head, or is it staying in place when my body spins while my head's in a certain vector? Or am I moving my head in a circle while my body turns so that like it stays in the same place? Or am I moving my body while my head stays in the same place? Or am I just moving my head, right? So like these are different movements that we can add on top of all the steps that we're doing. This makes the possibilities like crazy. So one of the first things I want to talk about is your intention with Zouk. Zouk is not like salsa, which has like a bunch of rules on like when you can do a left or right hand turn or crossbody lead, or like bachata. At least the way I learned it is like a bunch of different moves, and like you go to a social and you have like 10, 20 moves in your bag and you can kind of cycle through that. Zouk typically is danced for more than one song. When you partner with someone at a social, first of all, the DJs usually mix the songs. So it's not clear when a song ends. Well, you can kind of tell like when a song ends another one, but it's easy to flow between songs. The minimum amount of songs that you dance with someone is usually about 3 to be polite. Less than that if you're like hurting or they're like pulling on you, for example, or you don't feel safe, you can end this dance at any time that you want. But in the case where you really do connect with someone, you can dance a few hours. I typically don't dance that much. I might dance at most like 30 minutes with someone, but because of the nature of this, right? If you have, there's not enough moves in your bag, if that makes sense. The part of the joy of Zouk is that Zouk can be broken down to a series of basics, right? There's different basics like, you know, you might have seen like French à Trice is one of the first things they teach, or there's like this lateral, right? Or there's simple turn. And all of these different moves can then be further broken down into basically it's a weight transfer and it's a vector, it's a direction, it's this way. And is my weight coming up, down? And all of these movements tied to your frame, and then these frame movements tied to head movements, right? How do I move my chest? How do I use the floor? All of these different components add together to where you can basically create new moves all the time. And that's what makes it really fun. I think Zouk is an infinite dance, but it takes a while to understand that Zouk is like a few things like just weight transfer plus direction, right? You have to first kind of do this a few thousand times. You have to do a few thousand laterals with a few hundred different follows to really get the feeling. And that's okay. Like I said before, we're sculpting you, right? And it takes some time. So I think the mentality to approaching Zouk is very similar to that of a martial art, right? Like, even though you know how to throw like a roundhouse kick, like bah, right? It doesn't mean that once you know how to throw a roundhouse kick once, you're like done with the roundhouse kick, right? You're gonna spend the rest of your adult life just perfecting that move, the timing, the speed, like when to use it, like how to just do different things with it, right? That applies to Zouk as well. It's not like do this set of moves that you saw, right? I think that this type of content that you see on Instagram is really useful for like, you know, making it interesting and shareable and getting attention as a professional. But like for you, the actual person that wants to learn dance, I think you need to adopt first a mentality that like I'm approaching this like a discipline, like an art, like learning the violin or some sort of martial art where it takes time. And we're going to be okay with working on the same things again and again and revisiting them again and again to resharpen it, to make it more clear and crisp so that you can be a comfortable follow, a comfortable lead that's safe, where you can dance hours and hours on end and just feeling the joys of all of this. Because I have found that the more technique I get, the more time I spend learning Zouk, the more I enjoy the dance. It does not get worse. It just keeps on getting better. There is something to say about, will I enjoy dancing with people who are more beginners, who don't have the same mindset or don't understand the same rules? I think people can talk about this. Like personally, I think that as long as a follow or my lead can keep their timing, which is a big ask, as long as you can keep the time, it's pretty much okay. If you can keep the time and you have a good frame, amazing. If you can keep the time and have a good frame and have good weight transfers, that's already like that's really good. These are some of the things that I want to focus on first. But before all that, again, is the mentality, right? Like, this is gonna take time, and it's a different dance than any of the other partner dances you do. In fact, I'd say that Zouk is more athletic, more expansive and creative, because not only do you have the different steps and directions like many other dances have, but you also have the element of head movement, right? Like which direction it's going. Am I moving my head, or is it staying in place when my body spins while my head's in a certain vector? Or am I moving my head in a circle while my body turns so that like it stays in the same place? Or am I moving my body while my head stays in the same place? Or am I just moving my head, right? So like these are different movements that we can add on top of all the steps that we're doing. This makes the possibilities like crazy, and it's just so much fun to lead this as well as to follow. The idea of learning Zouk is a bit different than other dances, and so I think if you came prepared with the mentality that you're going to be working a lot on your basics and that this is a good thing, it's not a boring thing. Being a beginner in Zouk is really tough. Like, no one wants to train with you, so how are you going to get better, right? Like, taking group classes is tough because you're not getting the attention and touch that you need. And teachers don't really have, they don't feel like they have the time or the bandwidth to explain to everyone who has different levels and body sensitivities how they should make the lead field. So I think taking privates is the best way, but if you're anywhere else in the world, privates are really expensive. There's not a lot of Zouk teachers out there, you know? So there's a lot of challenges with learning how to be a lead. But as a follow, you just need a good lead to lead you, and you'll know they can create the feeling for you. So being able to take your time and understand how it should feel is how I want to lead this type of tutorial with you, because to be frank, it's not easy. And now that we've kind of talked about the intention and the difference between Zouk and other dances, we could start diving into the material itself.